Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Tell a friend about us. Tell a family member about us. Helps us grow the podcast. Go ahead and tell an outlaw about us. I can fully support that one on this one. Tell an outlaw.
Yeah.
If he runs around in the forest and shoots a bow and arrow, even better. But for sure, tell an outlaw about us. Yeah, we're in week 2 of November, the movies that are funny that weren't intended to be funny month. And Alex on a heater here for the first 2 weeks with Kevin Costner back-to-back films. But before we get into what film and start jumping into the review, go check us out on Patreon. It's where you can get involved in making us watch movies like this, picking movies, what films we're watching. This was a great topic by our beautiful patron who's been around with us for a long time now, CB or Charles. We appreciate you, my guy. But yeah, go check us out there. There's lots of content. Some of it's free, some of it's not, but you can certainly get involved in voting and picking topics for free. And then tons and tons of extra content if you're willing to help support the podcast. And keep us afloat financially a little bit here and there. It's not much, but it helps us out a ton. So there it is. But let's get into this week. It's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It was released June 14th, 1991. It was written by Pan Densham and John Watson. It was directed by Kevin Reynolds. We have a theme. It stars Kevin Costner, also a theme. Morgan Freeman, Mary Elizabeth Monstranio, Christian Slater, Alan Rickman, Geraldine McEwen, Brian Blessed, Michael McShane, Nick Brimble, and Michael Wincott. It is about Robin Hood, who decides to fight back as an outlaw when faced with the tyranny of the Sheriff of Nottingham. Somebody was really lazy on that one. They were just like,
it's a Robin Hood movie.
Yeah.
This is like the
synopsis.
53rd Robin Hood movie ever.
Yeah. All by 1991.
Yeah.
And it's funny because before I turn it over to you, I have to laugh because we talked about Waterworld last week. And the fact that in 1995, Kevin Costner had carte blanche to make whatever movie. And this was part of the problem. Was in 1991. This was a very successful movie, though. We'll talk about how well it holds up here. So, Alec, this was, again, your pick. Can't wait to hear what drove this one.
So I didn't actually realize that I picked the same movie as Waterworld, just different backdrop and everything like that. But
yeah,
and I'll say this one's better. But we have the same start, right? Where you got like 10, 15 minutes to kick it off. Pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. You set the scene, you set the story, you realize what's happening. You both in Jerusalem and back in England, and you get this idea that it's going to be a dark, menacing kind of drama undertone. And then Kevin Costner gets involved, and it shifts. And then from there, I mean, once again, the most compelling performance to me is the villain, Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham, gold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's widely known, I guess, or at least widely talked about how much he went off script because he knew how bad it was going to be, and he saved the movie. But it's one of those scenes where, like, it's I enjoy it, and it's got a killer song. Like when that epic song comes on in the credits, you're like, let's go. And then you start off, you get to see, the part of the Crusades that's talked about but never mentioned, where, he's captured, he's in the holding cell below Jerusalem, got all these things. And you see, his family home getting taken away, and you get to see that aspect of it. And it looks like this is going to be that blockbuster generational hit based on the first like 10, 15 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just goes down, and it just gets worse and worse. And there's a few moments in there that are pretty cool, and they're pretty much tied to whenever that song is playing or Alan Rickman is on screen. Like that's cool. But the most egregious sin, where we'll just get this out of the way first, is Kevin Costner Not even trying for an English accent with Robin
Yeah.
Hood. So much so that they made an entire parody of this film, and that was pretty much the tagline, or the what it was built around, is
Yeah.
speaking with an English accent,
Oh yeah.
or at least trying to. And so it's again, it was around the same time that I saw Waterworld, so around that like age of adventure, spirit of adventure type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoy it, but there's so many problems with this, and it turns into like the Robin Hood story is supposed to be funny, right? It's Robin Hood and his merry men. You're supposed to have funny moments in there, but I should not be giggling uncontrollably throughout Robin Hood's film and story, because again, the story itself is not a funny story. You have this coup that's happening at the same time that you're taxing the poor, and all this stuff, and it's not a very enjoyable story
Mm-hmm.
or a funny story to begin with, but I just cackle the entire time.
Oh yeah.
And even your menacing Guy of Gisborne character, who I like the casting for him,
Yeah.
right? The voice and everything, he's a sideshow kind of character. And it's just funny. Like
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be this menacing, and they got the right guy for it, but he doesn't get to show this kind of very menacing factor. Instead, he's talking about because even the intro where you see him, he's chasing Wolf down, like menacing dude, and then he makes that comment about like being stuck in a tree, or deer can't climb trees, I think
Yeah.
is what it is. You're just like, dude, like who wrote this?
Yeah. It's terrible.
It's terrible. It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's a tricky one for me because much like Waterworld for you had some nostalgia, this one has nostalgia because I was young. I was younger. How about that? So when this one came out, I was 10 years old. And it's amazing the difference that 4 years can make in your perception of a movie. And so funny story on this one that has very little to do with the movie, but it's very funny. So when I was 10 years old, I was living in Ohio, and my family, as you know, grew up very LDS. Okay. I've not been since I was young, but my family was, right? And there was and I'm not going to say their name, but there was a family that grew up with my dad, one of my dad's best friends growing up. And they were, when I think of the signature or like the tent pole LDS family, this is the family I think of, and not in a bad way, right? Like
Right.
I poo-poo the church all the time. I poo-poo religion in general. Let's not say I poo-poo just the LDS church. I poo-poo LDS religion in general.
We both do.
Yeah. But when I think of like the staple LDS family in the best possible way, meaning they live the values of this church, they believe in it, they're not pompous about it, like they're not shitty human beings. They're still very good people. They're trying to, and they do try to educate you about the church, but they just are very good, kind in family.
Right.
Large family. This family, their goal was always to have 12 kids minimum. And they were close when even I was a kid. I think they had like 5 or 6 at the time when I was 10. And they ended up, I think, having a full dozen kids. Anyway, they were all, and then their oldest daughter was my age. And so these families grew up together. So it was always like this running joke that we were going to connect these families,
Right.
this girl and me, right? And listen, she was wonderful, and I had a crush on her when I was a little kid. And as we grew up, like I think the worst thing that they ever did was push that narrative so much that I was just like, there's no way I could ever, even if I wanted to. And then we moved away, so it didn't matter. But it was very interesting. So I was over at this family's house. My parents were off doing something, so I stayed with this family. Okay. Well, back then, when I was 10, like it was a big deal. Well, we'll go rent a movie and come back and watch it as a family. So my family had rented this movie when I was I mean, I had to have been 11 at the time when we rented it. Well, and I didn't know any better, right? Like, so
You brought the devil into the household,
no
JJ.
shit, dude. So we we go. I had watched this movie, and I didn't remember the fact that, I mean, your memory as a kid isn't that strong, that my
No,
parents
it's
had
terrible.
covered my eyes or they had distracted me during certain parts, and I didn't know what the hell they were saying when I was, you know what I'm saying. So anyway, I didn't get the innuendo jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the you know, the Blockbuster, I think it was, or the local rental joint, and we're walking around, and I was like, "Oh, this movie was really funny." And they're like, "Oh, did you watch that with your parents?" I'm like, "Yeah." So they immediately thought it's
Cleared.
safe, right?
Fuck
Well, they
me.
had we were the oldest. Me and this and their daughter were the oldest of the kids at
Yeah.
11 years old, right? So the rest were younger, and we all sit around as a family and start watching this movie. And all of a sudden I start, and again, I'm too young to even really understand that I should be embarrassed
What?
by the fact that this really strong LDS faithful family is now watching uh hands get chopped off, and like
Yeah.
uh Kevin Costner's ass like 10 feet halfway through the movie, and yeah, by the end of it,
Yeah.
fuck
Fuck
me, he
me. He
cleared
cleared
it.
it.
Like, and then so I didn't know, but I could tell it was really weird because like the patriarch of this family, he asked me at one point, "You watch this with your parents?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And I
100%.
could see this like look on him and his wife's face, like, okay, you know. And I
Yeah.
mean, there's an attempted SA in this, you know. I mean, there's just so many things that don't fit the narrative of this really strong LDS family, right? But it was PG-13, so we didn't, or it was PG even. I think, I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't.
Because it's the 80s or the
Yeah, it was
90s.
early 90s, so I don't even know that like PG-13 was such a rarity. Anyway, so it was just like really, it's a funny story. Like this is part of like why I remember this movie fondly, because looking back on it now, I'm like, they had to have been so uncomfortable.
Oh, 100%.
And their kids are, we didn't know what the hell we were watching. So like it was funny to us because all we got was the surface level jokes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't understand the sexual innuendo and the violence and the cursing, and we didn't know. So, because we were raised in this sheltered little community at the time in this backwater city, you know, town in Ohio. So anyway, it was funny. I always think about this. And then the other thing I think about is that Bryan Adams song fucking dominated the airwaves for at least a year, if not long. I mean, it's still played in
Mm-hmm.
at weddings and dances, and you know, it's this long ass song, really great song. But yeah, like
Yeah.
it, yeah, that's where my memory goes. But this, I have a very fond memory of this film versus Waterworld, where I was like, this movie sucks.
Well, it's interesting too because like it's a tough one because there's
Yeah.
so many like really funny moments. Like the one that cracks me up is the two reoccurring outlaws that are
Mm.
just dumb as a stump, right? And you know they're sitting there, and how many are there? There's five, right? So you can't count them anyway.
Yeah.
There's 20 dudes, or you take the one on the left. Well, which one's the left? And he holds up his right hand,
Uh,
and, and then it's like it just continues on. So there's plenty of moments where I'm laughing,
mm-hmm.
right? That I know were intended. Right,
Yes.
like these jokes are intended. This is the part of the Robin Hood story is supposed to be funny, merry men, outlaws, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then it's the ones that get me are is Alan Rickman,
Oh yeah.
right? Like he like just the just every single time he's on the screen, right? The cancel Christmas line
Oh yeah.
when he can't do it, or the he's walking by and he sees the stitch marks
The
drawn on
stitch
his statue,
marks.
and he stops and tries to scrub them off. And then even like you mentioned, but like there is an attempted essay in this, but even that is kind of funny in a
Yeah.
way because he grabs a pillow to like put behind her head. And so it's like it's not funny, but at the same time, the circumstances and the situation and the way that he does it, like you're sitting there going, "Oh, that was kind of nice of him," right?
Yeah.
As he's attempting to it's and so that's the thing where it comes in like where it's not supposed to be funny,
Yeah.
like Alan Rickman takes over and he kills it.
Oh yeah.
And it becomes now, instead of being like this drama with funny bits interlaced in it, it becomes a comedy surrounding Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
And it's just it's not supposed to happen, but I cackle every single time he's on the screen.
Yeah.
Because he's so good. And he just decided, I can write lines better than this. I know what I'm doing. I'm amazing pretty much, and I'm gonna fix this movie.
Yeah.
And by fixing it, he did well for himself, but he almost ruins the movie because
Yeah, no shit.
now, once again, it's, I don't want Robin Hood to win. I want the sheriff to win because he's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that same, I was thinking the same thing. Like the line where he's like, yeah, the attempted essay is happening, and he's like, how am I supposed to concentrate with all that racket going on? And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening right now? Because as an adult, I now understand. I'm like, this is morbid, but like, you can't help but kind of giggle a little bit. And it's a movie that would, in the way it's made now, could never get made today.
No.
But it's like so interesting. And at the time, like, it was a very successful movie financially and continued to push, Kevin Costner's career. And I'm sorry, but, and I've said this before, Kevin Costner in this time frame outside of comedy was terrible. Like, I hated Kevin Costner back then, because except in comedies like Tin Cup, or things where he was being like, his silly, weird awkwardness works, whereas in this, when he's trying to be this charismatic thief that everybody loves, I'm like, you're dull and bland. And the most interesting part of your crew is Little John and Azim, who how they got freaking, it just blows my mind that the cast around, and this is a typical, I've said this before about Costner though, is that Costner films, the funny part about him is like the surrounding cast, the people that he brings in around him are way better at acting than he is. And they make films. Now, as an older man, like he did the show Yellowstone, he's great in that. But that plays to his strengths as an older man. This movie does not play to his strengths, like at least the character that he plays in it, right? So it's like, I don't know, it's a struggle. But yeah, like, man, Azim's a great character too. Like, I love, like, Christian. Like, it's just like,
get up,
be
faster.
It's amazing. And I think of all the adaptations of Robin Hood and that involve Azim, or the character likeness of Azim, this is by far the best. Portrayal of that, and how that, he learned from him. But it's also just like so bad. But I mean, it also has great lines too. Like, there's lines in this movie that I still use today. Like, if someone's pissing me off, I'll cut your heart out with a spoon.
Yeah.
And then I can't help myself but finish the line and go, why a spoon, cousin? Why not a knife or an axe? Because it's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more. I've been saying that my whole fucking life, dude, because that line sticks with me. That combination of lines, right? Like where he's chasing him, he gets his face. I cut your heart. Fuck, dude, it's great. But then you're like, but does it really fit the film and what we're trying to do here? Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's what makes this movie successful in spite of itself, right? So it's such a conundrum film that you're like, it's so bad, but at the same time, and I always put this in the category of movies that are so bad they're good.
Yeah. No, it fits perfectly into there as well.
Yeah.
And the funny part is we have the better Robin Hood in this movie. Christian Slater.
Would
be a way better Robin Hood. He would fit the role perfectly. He would be phenomenal in it. And we get him as Will Scarlet in the movie, so we get some of it. But I can't help but watch this and go, it'd be really cool is if Christian Slater was Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And then the interactions with the sheriff, you get to have a little bit more of, I think, back and forth dialogue. Where you have this banter versus with Costner and Rickman, you get kind of like the sheriff setting up all these things, and Costner comes back with this melodramatic, like do-gooder kind of for the people vibe. And it's like, dude, no, give me some back and forth, some banter, because I enjoy Robin Hood stories, and one of my favorite
Me
movies
too.
of all time is the Errol Flynn one, way
Mm-hmm.
back in the 1930s. And you have this banter that goes back and forth,
Yep.
and it makes for a better movie because it's not like uh the perfect person, right? It's not the perfect good versus the perfect evil, which is what Costner tries to do with this. Like I'm so shiny and perfect and
Mm-hmm.
righteous in a way. And no, it's like Robin Hood was still an outlaw, but it was what he did as an outlaw that so he still has this disrespect for authority, this kind of outlaw persona and everything. It just so
Mm-hmm.
happens that what he was doing was good for the people. And
Yeah.
the only reason why he was doing it was because it was bad for the sheriff and everybody else.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's not this, perfect good versus perfect evil, but that's what, Costner's almost trying to do with this. And it doesn't work as well as having this kind of back and forth going at you. And, give Robin Hood a little more of a devil may care attitude.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, when every single time I watch this, I'm like, shoot, I would have loved to see Christian Slater in the role of Robin Hood,
Yeah.
because then you add in the side characters like you were talking about, Azim, Little John, and then you can even throw Fire Tuck in there. Which, watching this for the first time after knowing you, I'm like, JJ.
Dude.
But you throw all these other characters into, and now you actually have your band of merry men.
Mm-hmm.
Versus what we get with this is the band of merry men, but they're all very proper when Robin's around, and it's this kind of thing. And so that's something that I get hung up quite a bit, is like what could have been, and what the kind of the same theme that happened with last week on Waterworld. Just take Kevin Costner out of it.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's a big name, he's got the headlines and everything like that, but just take him out.
Yep.
And we could have incredible movies.
Oh yeah. It's a wild. Yeah, it's a wild situation with Costner, because he makes all these popular, like, famous films, but it's almost, again, in spite of him early on anyway, right? Like, again, later in life, I think he figured it out and he kind of realized, I need to be in this role and that role, and I fit here and I fit there, and I can circumvent that a little bit, or go against the grain in some cases, like a Mr. What was that movie called where he was the serial killer? Anyway, that's a great one. And he played that really well, but it goes against expectations for him. But as a younger guy, like, he got famous, and then he was like, I can do
Anything.
whatever. And
Yeah.
it didn't work at least 50% of the time, right? She wanted to talk. She's telling us too. So yeah, it's one.
Yeah, it's interesting to bring that up, because that's almost perfect. Is that kind of thing with Costner? He's bad for his own self, because he misses so frequently.
Yeah, but me, Friar Tuck, for sure.
Oh,
that one. Oh yeah,
cackling because he just shows up, big dude, big beard, drinking and singing on the wagon, and especially you got even the disrespect for authority as well, because you got Guy gets born like, shut up, like we're in Sherwood, and kind of like just grumble. And then you can even throw in there at one point in life, at least, religious, but at the same time,
sees the hypocrisy of it all at the same time. Like,
and so especially at the ending scene, right, where you have that he confronts like the bishop or whoever it is, and the final 30 pieces of silver to pay the devil, just toss him out the window. I was like, I could see JJ doing that. I don't know what your mission president was like, but I could see that happening if JJ didn't agree with you.
Oh yeah,
here you go, out the window
for sure.
I'll help you pack.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the back and forth between the two of them, that you get to see this one that looks like the perfect representation of the church, and then you have Tuck, who's this, by all intents and purposes, like the worst representation, and yet does the most good, right? He's the better version. And watching when he's, I'll help you pack, and burning hell, and he shoves him out the window. I'm like, That's a righteous kill right there.
Yeah. And so, like, there's moments in this movie that got really right. That's one of them. And then another one is like when he first shows up to the Sherwood Forest game, and it's like, hey,
Hmm.
we need a friar, pretty much, or we need a. It's like, okay, like, I got this type of thing. This is what I
Yeah.
was meant for. These are my people, type of a thing. Because he was on his way or from the priory or whatever, and they gave him the job of transporting stuff because they didn't want him around.
Yep.
Right, because he's not the hoity-toity fancy types that would go to church at this time, and so you give him the congregation that's right up his alley, and it's like, okay. And then you can throw in there another great scene that I think they did is actually between what is it? It's between Azim. It's when Azim and the whole like back and forth about when they got to turn the baby around.
Yeah.
And Friar Tuck's coming in, kind of fire and brimstone type of a thing, and then afterwards he's got that kind of moment where he's like, okay, you did know what you were doing, that's my bad.
Yeah.
Type thing. So there's several scenes with Friar Tuck that they did so well, and it's unfortunate that they were just in this movie because it's not the greatest backdrop for some of these amazing scenes.
No, I agree with you. There are some really good characters and really good moments in this movie, and I think that's the only reason that it didn't get the same stigma that Waterworld did, right? Like there was enough understanding, because listen, I saw this movie, I was excited for this movie because Robin Hood's one of my favorite stories of all time. Like, and it ironically, it comes from as a little kid watching the Disney version. You know what I mean? The little cartoon that like I still could sing all the songs. Like I love that version. But then it grew with me, and even as an adult, like if somebody makes a Robin Hood movie, I'm gonna watch it because I love that idea and that story. And so I watched this movie and I enjoyed it because of what it was. And then there was the moments, and like I love the interaction. I'm with you. Like I think Will Scarlet is the most charismatic guy in this whole thing, other than maybe Little John. I love him too. Like I always look, because he also played Sir Ector in A Knight's Tale. So I'm always like, oh, look, it's check it out. But anyway, I mean, there's just so much that is good about it, that it does have redeeming qualities to it, no matter how bad the actual movie is from a filmmaking or, but it's all on Costner at that point, right? It's not everything else. You're like, man, this was a great movie if it, to your point, didn't have Kevin Costner in it. So, but yeah, it's I don't know, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, but it has some great moments, and I do laugh my ass off when they catapult him over the wall.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking hilarious. Fuck me, they cleared it. It's just some great lines, but I also enjoy the moment too when Will Scarlet reveals himself, to Robin. Like, I'm your brother, dude. Like, and it has that moment of very poignancy. That's like, why didn't you tell me? Like, this could have been a whole lot different.
Yeah, we could have just let me know. Skipped this whole process.
Yeah, and not had this whole thing be a mess. But, and then Marion, what's the actress that plays Marion? She's amazing. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. I love her in the Abyss later on, but like, she's great. Alan Rickman just chews up every scene he's in.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, like Morgan Freeman is amazing. It's just everything's so good, except for some of the dialogue, and then everything that has to do with Costner for the most part. So,
and like even the story's a little disjointed. Like,
sure,
again, scene that's not supposed to be funny, but I die laughing every time, is when they bring in the Celts to attack the forest.
Yeah,
and it's like Stone Age Celts. Right?
Yeah.
It's like 1300 AD.
Yeah.
They're not wearing animal skins anymore.
No.
I don't think they're even really using woad anymore. But
so stupid.
They bring him in and I'm just laughing, especially the guy on the horse who's just walking around with like, Helm Hammerhand's hammer. And just bopping people on the head.
Seriously. It's bad.
It's so funny. And then to like piggyback off it, right, where the scene where they're now going to rescue everybody, right, and they give the shortest guy there like the kilt outfit, and
Yeah.
dude's like 4'10", and the sea of people is partying because he's dressed like a kilt. Like you put Little John in there, he's a big guy, right? You might have a better chance of it. But I'm dying because he's just standing by the gate, and dude has to like reach up to get the rope. Like, look, he just look like a little dwarf out there, and they're all scared because he's dressed like a kilt.
Yeah.
I was
It's
so it's little things like that that almost ruin the great character performances.
Yeah.
Could we miss out on so much, or it's just so disjointing that by the time we get to this kind of breakout scene and we got the fire explosions and everything like that, like as cool as that is, I'm also just kind of giggling.
Oh yeah,
because right before that, it's the Friar Tuck and the leprosy comment, right? Is this your finger? And so it almost suffers from what is this exactly supposed to be? Because I think if they picked drama, it would have been really good. I think if they picked comedy, it'd be really good. But it started out as a drama that is almost found out the comedy was more successful or was gonna be more or easier to do, and so it flip flopped in the middle.
Yeah.
And so it's but it's still something that I sit down and I just enjoy, and I swear hearing that song come on when the credits start to go through, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it's weird how a love song like gets you all pumped up in this movie.
Yeah,
it really does. Well, and they got some huge names. I mean, I wonder how much they paid Sean Connery for his
30-second
freaking Richard the Lionheart cameo. Like, and then I also wonder too, I've always been like, where's Prince John in this whole, because like in the actual story, like that's
where the coup's coming from.
Like, he's utilizing the sheriff, but where's Prince John in all this? But and maybe it was just like we don't have
the budget
space for one more character to be in here and convolute this story any further. But yeah, it's a tricky one for me because, like I said, there's a ton of nostalgia for this one for me, and then there's some really great, genuinely good stuff that happens in this movie that's mixed in with the like, what the fuck is going on? And there is some funny action too, like that iconic scene where it's on the screen right there below us to a degree, like where that explosion happens as he fires into the guy that's about to kill Will Scarlet. You're like, okay, that was dope looking.
Yeah.
And then they launch them over the wall, and you're like, that looked like it would kill you.
Yeah. And especially because I think they opened the gate like a grand total of 10 seconds later.
Yeah. It's just like, well, and I'm like, the trajectory of that, they went pretty high. Pretty sure that catapult looked like it would have thrown them right into the wall, but hey, whatever.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right, should we rate it?
Let's do it.
All right, my guy, you're up again.
My movie. I think I'm gonna go 3. Right. So it is a better movie than Waterworld. It still is funny when it's not supposed to be, and I blame, right, in air quotes, blame Alan Rickman for that because everything he does is funny. I honestly could do without the witch portion.
Yeah,
like that was weird to me. Aside from whenever she's interacting with Alan Rickman, and so 3, I will watch it again. It's an enjoyable watch. I'll sit down and I'll watch this pretty much anytime. But I do so knowing that I'm gonna laugh hilariously at a Robin Hood movie, and then there are parts where I'm gonna tune out and not care because it doesn't help the storyline, doesn't fit. It's not as enjoyable, and so it's one of those movies where I sit down thinking, man, I wish the sheriff wins this Robin Hood fight. Like you're never supposed to think that, but Alan Rickman does such a great job at being a likable villain and being funny and moving the story along that you're like, dude, I really wish he wins because that's cool. The sarcasm, the one-liners and everything just boils it down. But I'm gonna give it a 3. I will watch it again, but it's definitely funny when it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
Not intended.
Yeah, I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to give it a 3-2. And I think it's one of those things where I've said this a million times about a bunch of movies, but when it's really good, it's really good. But when it's bad, Jesus, is it bad? And it's kind of got a weird balance of good and bad, but it works in a lot of ways where it doesn't work in just as many. And so it's tricky, but there is a level of nostalgia for me for the time frame and when I saw it first, and the fact that it's a Robin Hood film in general, and that there are some, like I said, some very entertaining parts. And to your point, it was never, I don't think, meant to be a comedy, but God, it worked out as a really good one in a lot of ways. And Alan Rickman, as he has his whole, as he did his whole career, just steals scenes and becomes a major focal point of this movie. To your point that you're like, this might be the one time I want Robin Hood to lose. Like,
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to see this guy run the country of England, because what a country it would be. Like, you know what I mean? So it's, yeah, but I mean, it fits the theme perfectly of a movie that was not intended to be funny, that turns out to be quite hilarious in a lot of ways, and in some really good moments. And there's a lot to love about the movie and a lot to hate, but I will definitely watch it again. But yeah, a solid 3 for me. Like, it's entertaining in all the right ways. And so, yeah, good stuff. Alec, tell me where they can find us.
Happy to. So this is week 2 of movies that are funny and they weren't intended to be, never were supposed to be, or shouldn't have been. And this is Robin Hood, the Prince of Thieves. Best place to find us, if you want to see our smiling faces or, interaction with JJ's dogs, is YouTube. Outside of that, Patreon's best place to be involved at What's Our Verdict Reviews. It is completely free to get involved in the voting process. So the way that the way that the podcast has kind of evolved is that categories are voted on by our viewers. And then JJ and I will pick movies that go into those categories. And the final movies that we do are voted on by viewers again. So that is 100% free to get involved in the voting process, get your movies out there and on the main channel. Behind a very little paywall, words are hard, there is somewhere north of 600 extra videos, and that includes bloopers, outtakes, just shit of us talking before and after the podcast, and as well as we have full-length episodes. So there are some doozies on there that were specifically requested by our lovely patrons, Rich and CB, but they're also videos that cannot be viewed on any main channel ever. So there's some doozies on there. It's fun. It's hilarious. We are just having a fun time going after some of those. So behind a little paywall, there is a ton of extra content. You get a huge bang for your buck. With that, I will kick it back to JJ, who, let's see, Colossus of Clout, Kina Crash. JJ.
I like it. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. Patreon. We got things like Vulgar in there that you can.
Oh, I forgot about Vulgar.
There's some winners. But yeah, go check us out. We appreciate it as always. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!